Hey all, this is a video I know, let's back me up a little. And this is a video I know that I haven't done, I haven't done one in a while, and I changed the lighting setup. It's been hard the last couple of videos to get good lighting on my face so that you can see me, so I don't look like I'm in shadow. Because while our apartment is now exceedingly bright right now, you can't tell by the camera. Um, Anywho, now you can see. This video is on notes are lovely. I see what I see, and you don't get to tell me I don't see it. So everyone sees the world differently. We all know that, or at least we should know that. Now you do know that. And Aspie see things one way, autistics see them another way, normal people see them another way, schizoid affectives. Everyone sees the world differently, not only in general, depending upon if they have a mental disorder or defect, or if they're a normal person, or if they're a dumb person, or if they're an average person or a smart person, if they're from a different country, if they're from a different culture, whatever language they speak, language affects how you think, and so on and so forth. And everyone sees what they see. That's cool. But one of the things that I have heard from you guys, I certainly have had this experience, but I've definitely heard it from you guys. I've definitely heard it from a few of my Aspie friends, and my autistic friends as well, is that you see things that other people don't see, and then you tell them about them, and they go, no, 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 that's not how it is. And you're like, no, look, it's right here. No, 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 that's not how it is. And as my wife put it, we have a foster puppy right now for Big Fluffy Dog Rescue. Throwing that out there, a very nice organization. And we're fostering her where she's a Hurricane Harvey victim, and she came to us via Louisiana, then I think Alabama, then Tennessee, and now here in North Carolina. Anyway, they're off. That's why they're not here right now. They're outside from our apartment, so there's poop in the house. And she put it like this: it's like everyone else is running around like so. And you're saying, can't you see the light? It's over here. Can't you see the light? And they're like, nope, there's no light. I can't see any light. What are you talking about? No light, no light, no light. And even if you do that, you'll notice that some light leaks in. But they're not seeing that. They're seeing the dark and they're ignoring it. And now they're telling me that I don't see any light. My hands are off my eyes. I can see the light. And they're going, there's no light. But I see it. No, you don't. But I see it. Well, because I don't see it, you don't see it. Therefore, you don't see it. And you could relate this to a whole bunch of colorblind people running around who know nothing but colorblindness, and a guy comes along who can see color, and he goes, oh, look at that blue thing. And they go, what are you talking about? That's gray. And you can even relate that down to red-green colorblind. There are people who are red-green colorblind who cannot tell the difference between red and green due to whatever defects are in their eyes, brain, whatever. I don't know. But they can't see it. That's the point. And you tell them this is red and this is green, and they go, sure. They don't know. They literally have spent their entire lives taking the word of everyone around them that everything is red or green. They're crazy. We have this experience, by the way, when we don't see facial expression, body language, or understand vocal tone. Those classic social blindness issues, we're having people telling us, what are you talking about? Like, I had a friend, I was 22, he said, man, that girl was really into you. She's really hot and smart. Why didn't you pick up on that? And I'm like, and this was a year and a half before I was diagnosed. And I was like, huh? And, what, you didn't want her? She was hot and smart. Of course I wanted her. I would love to have taken her out on a date. Maybe had a little adult time. If she liked me and I liked her and things worked out. But no. No, it didn't happen. And so I had to take his word. I had to take his word. The people were talking about all these things I wasn't seeing. And I thought they were bug nutty, batshit crazy sometimes. Come to find out I'm Aspie, come to find out, no, there's a genuine thing, and look, here's proof, and you can see it. And I'm like, okay. But Aspies, we see things. We see oftentimes, we're very famous for seeing patterns. And we see these patterns and we go, no, look, see? And as I describe it, it's like you're at one end of a curved pond, like a quarter moon shape, and I throw in a rock on one end of the pond and ripples on the other, and I go, look, see, I threw that rock over there, now there's ripples over there. And it's like people are going, who are watching the waves, who don't even know, like say this pond is moving because of the wind, But I can see the ripples traveling through the other waves, and they're going, no, those are just waves. Those aren't ripples from a stone over there. They're just waves. They have nothing to do with that stone over there. I had this conversation regarding Western martial arts, how I could see that one event had affected another event. And people insisted I was wrong. And there's one person I know, a very excellent martial artist, inspiring, all right, tremendously good at teaching what he does, which is fantastic. I have changed aspects of my style because of a 15-minute conversation with him. And he goes, so I do this. Have you tried doing this? Conversely, I've been fighting this man, and he's tried a move that just wasn't working, and he insisted it was all my fault. In his mind, and I've noticed he does with other people, if he can't see it, if it doesn't agree with what he believes should be true, then it's not true. He genuinely doesn't give people the benefit of the doubt on anything he has an aspect on. We call that hubris or arrogance. And all of us are guilty of it, but I use this as an example because I said X thing is true, and he goes, no, it's not. No, and his reasoning is he's better at this particular skill set than me. And I wanted to say, hey, look, you're my friend, and I greatly appreciate you, but you're being a dick, and you need to stop. And the post got taken down by the author or the administrator, I don't know. But I was like, I had this smooth, I spent all these spoons writing this long ass post, and then it fucking got killed. Maybe for the better. But my main point was going to be to him, hey dude, I see what I see, and I get to see it, and you don't get to tell me I'm wrong just because you don't see it. Not because you're saying, hey look, I see those ripples of effect too, and they're not coming from the source you think they are. Or those ripples are ripples, but they're not being sourced from over there. They're just ripples from other things. They're interference. They're whatever, the ripples of effect. As like I said, I described it as throwing a stone in the water, or a domino, or a butterfly wings. Essentially, you look for one event that triggers other events that trigger other events. You can say this event way over here influenced this event way over here, even though they're in no way connected, and they may not even be related fields. If you take physics, you'll learn that this happens in science all the time. Physics, chemistry, biology, bunches. Science, just take science, it'll happen. Mathematics, same thing. Architecture, if you forget this bolt, it fails. Cooking, if you forget this one ingredient, the whole thing doesn't work. And because of that one ingredient, you influence this guy. I was able to link how Auguste Escoffier, who's a very famous, very dead French chef who invented modern French cooking, the mother sauces, mise en place, the modern kitchen brigade. He famously took the kitchen out of the basement, and how he influenced a faux place in Boston. How his influence, and he's in France, and how his influence hit a Vietnamese faux place in Boston. So I was able to see that, and I was able to explain it. And to my wife, it didn't seem like that was happening, but with her great experience, her tremendous experience in the culinary world, she was able to go, I don't see it directly, but I could see it happening. Sort of I don't see it, but then again, I'm not really looking. I bet if she took like 5 minutes and really looked at it, she'd see what I'm talking about. Like right off the bat, she's like, oh yes, and this too, but here I am knowing very little comparatively about cooking and the culinary world to her, but I'm able to see these connections. And she used to say to me, you don't get to see what you get to see. And then I was able to show her over and over and over how things connected. And that's when, she did her video earlier about how Aspie minds see straight lines, where others see crooked, swirly. She calls my mind a maze. And she goes, it's straight to you, but to no one else. And that is very, very important. And we may be getting we're just getting just my wife saying, hey, I've got the puppy outside, but if we let her in, to knock over my whole setup. Anyway, the point being is that you Aspies and you autistics out there, you get to see what you get to see. No one gets to tell you different. You can be wrong. Okay? You can be wrong. But don't let them tell you, and neurotypicals, don't tell them they're wrong just because you can't see it. That's bullshit. We don't tell you you're wrong. Well, we do. But it's not right of us to tell you you're wrong about social interaction just because we don't see it. We're wrong when we do that. Now maybe you interpreted the social interaction wrong, you neurotypicals. Maybe the cause and effect aren't there, but you saw social interaction that we didn't see, and we don't get to tell you that social interaction doesn't exist just because we don't see it. We do, we shouldn't. And you shouldn't get to tell us, I'm going to change it from don't and can't to shouldn't, because people do, and they shouldn't. Should not. And therefore, when we see the things we see, you don't get to tell us that. No. I can connect Bruce Lee to the HEMA Alliance, the Historic European Martial Arts Alliance, and to the Society for Creative Anachronism, and to International Medieval Combat Federation, and to MMA, and to a Battle of the Nations. As long as all of those connections start in America. As long as it's an American doing it in America, I can absolutely make those connections. It's really not that hard. But I've had neurotypicals tell me I'm totally wrong. And then I whip out. Always have backup. I whip out a copy of the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, written after Bruce Lee's death, compiled by his notes by his family and friends. And I go, no, look, see here, this, and this. And then there was Enter the Dragon, and there was Game of Death. And there's this, and there's that. And those all connect. And Jeet Kune Do. And so theoretically, you could even link, Ip Man to armored combat today in America. It's a little hazier of a link, but when you know how Ip Man influenced Bruce Lee as his first really good, really major teacher, then you start to see the onion unfold, the layers come apart, and yeah. So there you go, and I hope you have a good day. And remember, folks, just because you have your hands over your eyes and you can't see the light doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means you can't see it. And you don't get to tell a person seeing it that it doesn't exist just because you don't see it. You may say, there's no light. You may say, there is brightness, but it's not from that light. You may say that light casts no brightness. But only if you acknowledge that there is a lamp. Have a good day.